We're Luke and Adrianne Anderson with the Anderson team at Beach and Forest Realty. We'd like to talk through how supply and demand influence the housing market. Our goal is to talk through the factors that influence supply and demand, understand how they can impact price, and most importantly, how they impact you as a buyer or a seller.
Whether you are selling a beanie baby or a house, low supply with high demand means increased prices. If you have a lot of supply combined with low demand, prices are lower. How does that relate to houses? If you ignore supply and demand when buying or selling a home, it's like trying to jump off of a cliff and ignore gravity. Whether you acknowledge it or not, you'll end up dealing with it. We're here to help you understand the market forces so you can make the best decision possible for you and your family.
Interest rates could impact both supply and demand. Here's how. Low interest rates means buyers have more purchasing power, and that drives up demand for properties to sell. This increased demand can drive up prices because competition among buyers will cause prices to increase. Low interest rates can also encourage more sellers to put their home on the market so they can sell one property and buy another. Trading up and downsizing occurs a lot when interest rates are low. When interest rates are high, the opposite occurs. Buyers have less purchasing power and the demand for housing goes down. Prices tend to go down as sellers compete to sell their home to a limited number of buyers. However, higher interest rates also limit the supply of homes to sell because fewer property owners are willing to sell if they will need to trade a lower interest rate that is already locked versus a higher interest rate.
Macro market information impacts supply and demand. By macro market, I mean taking a look at the entire coastal Carolinas Association of Realtors market along the Grand Strand. State statistics are almost meaningless, and national numbers are too broad to apply to our local market. We live in an area that is growing rapidly due to the high demand of people looking to move here and enjoy great weather with lower taxes. This means demand in our area is almost always steady. In the worst of markets, demand is pretty high to live along the coast. Our macro market is mostly impacted by supply. Thankfully, we live in one of the largest counties east of the Mississippi River with land available to build. It may not feel like it. As a local and as natives to the area, we don't want to acknowledge it, but we have space for development. Please note, builders do a good job of limiting available inventory so they don't drive their home price down. The neighborhood might finish with 500 homes, but they only build so much at one time, so they release them individually or in batches as they are finished. In our market, when taking a look at the inventory of homes, be sure to talk to us about new construction and how that impacts supply.
The micro market information. Micro market information comes down to overall scarcity of what you are trying to buy or trying to sell. If you're trying to buy a property that is incredibly unique and lots of other buyers would be interested in, you're in a situation where there's very low supply, very high demand, and that will reflect in paying a higher price. If you're listing a property that is incredibly unique, it is important to determine if there's a high demand for what makes your property special, or if it's hard to find a buyer with the same taste as you. If there's a low demand, it will bring the price down. Scarcity is important to factor in. If there's only 10 homes similar to yours in the neighborhood, that will negatively impact price because there's relatively high supply in your micro market. If you're the only condo for sale in your building, that can help you increase your price. As a buyer, if there are 5 properties that check all of your boxes, you stand a much better shot at getting a better price.
If you have questions about supply and demand and how your search is impacted by these very important factors, please don't hesitate to contact me or Adrianne. We'd love to give you a market update and share the data that backs up our forecast. As we learn about your goals, we can have a meaningful conversation about supply and demand to help you make an informed decision. To learn more about us, please visit lukeiamyourrealtor.com. We're here to help.